Hello everyone and welcome back to my art channel. Well, today I'm going to be reviewing these Rublev oil colors, and I'll talk a little bit about the paint and why I like them, and talk a little bit about the company, and hopefully you'll be inspired to give them a try if you want to. So now I have a few colors set out here. Now these are the ones I use. And if you have not seen my video on brands of oil paint, that's actually one of my most popular videos. It's gotten the most views. If you have not seen that video, I do recommend that you watch that. I'll put a link in the description so you can see that if you want to later. But Rublev was one of the brands in that video I did not mention. Just because there's way too many to mention in one video. So I did not get to these because I only use a few of their colors. And the reason that I only use a few of their colors, I will explain why that is, and you'll understand because it relates kind of to what makes the company unique. And the Rublev, to start out, I'll start out by saying that the Rublev oil paints are definitely in the premium grade. So they're the high grade oil paint, right up there with Michael Harding, Vasari. So they're premium grade, and they're made in the United States. They're in the company's in California, and they're actually made by a company. Is Natural Pigments is actually that's actually the company that makes them, and then the Rublev is their oil paint line. But they make a lot of other stuff too. So as I said, the actual company is Natural Pigments, and then Rublev is their oil color line that they make. And like I said, they're located in California, so they're made in the USA. And the reason why I only have a few of them is because their kind of claim to fame is that they only do historical pigments, which is interesting. And it's the only company I know of that does this, but they only do, like I said, historical pigments. So now the palette, the standard palette that I use, I use some cadmiums, I use some like quinacridone magenta, I use phthalo blue, and I use a number of colors like that in my palette, and they don't make those colors because those are modern colors that are after, so anything after about 1850 or so, maybe 1860, they don't do. So there's no cadmiums in their line, there's no phthalos, no quinacridones, because those are all modern colors. And even the cobalt blue that they make is like I looked on their website, it's not listed on here, but it's like an older form of like what they sometimes called cerulean blue, but even like the standard like regular cobalt blue, they don't even have that. So it's interesting. So these are all the types of pigments that would have been found like in the Renaissance, and like that Vermeer would have used, and Rembrandt, and Rubens, and those people that painted in the 1500s and the 1600s, and maybe up through like the 18th century. But the stuff the Impressionists use, like the cadmiums and cobalt violet, and then some of the later, it's not, they don't offer. So that's what makes them interesting. And one of the few of the interesting colors that they make is one of the ones that I thought was interesting was they make Minium, which is this one here, which is also known as red lead. It's a lead-based red pigment. And that's definitely a very historical, old-fashioned color that you don't see. In fact, I don't know if anyone else even makes it, except for Rublev. But what's interesting about that pigment is the red lead, which used to be called Minium in the old days. That was the color that they used to paint the little, like in illuminated manuscripts when they do the big letters, like the fancy letters, or they'd paint the little scenes in the illuminated manuscripts that had a lot of red in them or had the red backgrounds. I'll put an example up here of what I'm talking about so you can see. Whenever they painted those, they used Minium as the red. And because those pictures in those books were small, that's where the word miniature comes from. Because it was a miniature that was created with that Minium color. So I think that's really cool that they offer that. Of course, they offer a lot of earth colors because those have been around for thousands of years. Naples Yellow is a traditional color. They have the original lapis lazuli. It's actually lapis lazuli. If you haven't seen my video on the history of blue, you can go watch that because I talk about lapis lazuli in that. So that's kind of their claim to fame, and that's what makes them unique. But because what they offer only overlaps by a few colors of the colors that I use on my palette, that's why I only have a few of them. So it has nothing to do at all with their quality, because the quality is excellent. And the quality and the way these are made, they have a little blurb about it in their pamphlet here. The way these are made, because they are the premium grade, they're made like the old-fashioned paints would have been made in the 16th century and the 17th century. They're only pigment and oil, nothing else. They don't put any additives in. They don't put any stabilizers in. And because they don't put the stabilizers in, that means sometimes the oil will separate from the pigment. It's just like peanut butter. You know how Jif peanut butter is processed and it never separates, but the all-natural peanut butter will separate because they don't put any additives in it. It's exactly the same idea. Because they don't add anything to this but pigment and oil, sometimes you'll get a little bit of oil separating and coming out of the tube. So just be aware in premium grade lines like this, oil separation, if you get some oil coming out of the tube, is not necessarily a sign of poor quality. It just means that they didn't put in the extra ingredients that the lesser cost, the lesser expensive paints do to stabilize it and make it stay mixed. So let's play around a little bit with them, and I'll show you. I love their lead. These are the colors that I get from them. I love their lead white. Love their lead white. Beautiful white. One of the colors that I also use by Rublev is their lead tin yellow, which is it's very similar to Naples Yellow, and I'll kind of use either one depending on what's on sale or what I have the budget for. But they're pretty interchangeable. But I like their lead tin yellow a lot. It's got a nice consistency to it, so I'll show you that in a minute. Then yellow ochre, this Pozzuoli red, which is basically like a Venetian red or a Terra Rosa, and ultramarine blue. So before I get to squeezing some out, I thought we'd do a little demo here. This, I've laid out some. This is ultramarine blue, and I've laid out some amounts of paint so that they're equal amounts. So this here on the bottom, this is the Windsor Newton ultramarine blue, and this is the Rublev ultramarine blue at the top. So let's start by mixing together the Windsor Newton with the titanium, and this is just regular titanium white. So we'll compare tinting strength here to see. Now, do you see the difference? Look at that difference. This is the Now remember, these were all equal amounts of paint. This is the Windsor Newton ultramarine blue, which is an artist's grade. It's the middle category, which is a good brand. But this is the Rublev. Look how much darker and richer that is, because it's pure ultramarine blue pigment and linseed oil. There's nothing else in it. And the color is not only darker, so it has a higher pigment strength, as you can see, but it's a little bit brighter and more intense. Like the color, the blue, the ultramarine blue from the Rublev is a little bit more like saturated and intense looking. So you can see right there, comparing it to, you know, what would be considered a standard top brand, the Rublev definitely comes out on top in terms of tinting strength. So, and with all premium grade paints, you know, they can be a little bit on the expensive side, so you'll have to find a color, you know, that you like and try. Maybe one of the earth colors is less expensive if you just want to give them a try rather than going ahead and buying a bunch of it outright. But as I said on earlier, one of the colors that they make that I really like is this lead tin yellow. I use this regularly on my palette, and you can see, like, when it comes out of the tube, it's just very smooth and creamy, and it just has a really nice consistency to it. And I don't know, you probably can, if you can see this on camera, but you kind of see kind of the quality that the paint has. That's better. Like the way it kind of is a little, like, it holds its brush, like the brush strokes. It's, I don't know if you can see it because it's so overexposed in the light. There, you can see it a little better right there. That's kind of a hallmark of the lead-based pigments. Like the white does that too. It's got that really nice, like the way the brush strokes brush out, and that comes from the lead-based pigments, which is a quality that's really nice for oil painters. And you can see that, like if you're ever at a museum and you're looking at a Rembrandt painting, like look at the way that his lights look, and the yellows, the light yellows and the whites, and you'll kind of see that ropey, stringy quality that the lights have, and that's because it's the lead-based pigments, the white and the lead tin yellow. And so once I started using these colors, I can, like, hey, I recognize those brush strokes from the way the Rembrandt paintings look. So it was kind of funny that I realized that that's actually a quality of the pigment that's desirable for a lot of painters. But yeah, so the Rublev paint is really nice, and because they are natural historical pigments, and they only put oil and pigment in each tube, it kind of they allow the different qualities and the different characteristics of each pigment kind of to shine through on its own. So they don't do anything to the paint so that, like, each color is the same consistency, you know, because different pigments, they're different chemicals, makeups. You know, they take different amounts of oil when you make the oil paint. And a lot of paint manufacturers, you know, like the artist grade manufacturers like Windsor Newton and Gamblin and Rembrandt, they will put additives into their paint, not a lot, but a little, so that the consistency of all the different colors is exactly the same, or as close to the same as they can get them. Whereas, you know, when you make paint by hand like this with just oil and pigment, and you do it the historical way, then the characteristics of each pigment are going to come through. So some colors will throw off more oil than others, some will be a little drier, some will be a little oilier, but you can just see how nice the consistency of that paint is. It's not too stiff, you know, it's not too oily, it's and it's really richly pigmented, you know, like you can see how nice they are when you mix them together. You know, they're just really nice quality paints. So that should, I hopefully, give you a little introduction to Rublev oil colors and why you might want to try them out and why I consider them to be in the premium grade line of oil paints. And if anyone has ever tried one of those unusual colors like the Minium, leave a comment and let me know how you liked it. Because I don't personally have any reason to use that, so I wouldn't want to spend the money on it. But if you've tried that, let me know how you like it. Because I just think it's really cool that they sell some of those, like, you know, old-fashioned colors, like from the Renaissance and you know, like the old masters period of art. I just think that's really cool. So anyway, I hope that you found this video informative. And I will put a link to the Natural Pigments website also as well in the description, so you can go and check out everything they sell, because they don't just sell oil paints, they sell tons of other stuff as well. So I would encourage you to try the Rublev and see if you like them, and I hope that you found this video helpful and that you enjoyed it, and I thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Take care. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you won't miss the next video. And why not spread the joy? Be sure to share my videos on your favorite social media. Don't forget to head on over to my website, walcottfineart.com, where you can see my art, read my blog, or when you join my newsletter list, you can win free art. Every month, I'll choose a lucky winner for my email list, and that person will receive a mini original oil painting. There's a chance to win every month, so be sure to sign up today so you don't miss out. Plus, you'll get my fun newsletter. See you next time!